What's up, guys? Studfit here. We have episode 54 of Kart Talk. Joined by some of my very good friends in the community. We'll be talking about all things Mario Kart Tour, everything from some of the speculation of what the future of Mario Kart Tour could be involved. I think the focal point, though, of the episode will be around friendship and community, and I think that's one thing that will probably revolve around everything we discuss. But I have some good people to introduce you to. Some of our super studs. I'll start with the 2-year anniversary of the Larry 98 face reveal. For anyone new to Kart Talk, welcome. But then also, if you've seen any episode of the rundown, almost everything there you can see. Also in the Larry 98 Sheets website, you can also just be very appreciative of Larry because almost all of that is put together and cropped and set up so that we can put together a great episode. Thanks to Larry 98. So welcome back on your anniversary. How's it feel?
Yeah, it's feeling good. Like I wasn't really on Kart Talk for the past months, but I was like, for the second anniversary, I have to join again. So yeah, and this time, even when I still have to do a lot in the game, like that was the part why I didn't really had time the last tours because it was always like I'm stressing the last few days, but I will get it going. Yeah, so yeah, I'm excited for the next 2 hours.
Well, you're really busy in the sheets and doing different updates all the time. So I appreciate you taking time away from that heck to join us today. We're excited to get to you as well. And then we also have another super stud, Kareem the Dream, aka Kanye East. How you doing, man? Welcome back.
Hey everybody, good to see you. Good to see Larry, Avi, Wootmoo, of course, and Jerome. I can't. It looks like a Newcastle shirt or Notts County. I can't quite tell. It looks like a football jersey. It's always good to see you, man. And looking forward to the next couple of hours. Yeah.
Should be fun. Should be fun. So, actually, Kareem, although he could join anytime he wants, was actually nominated to join this episode alongside Avi by Wootmoo. So, Avi, welcome back. You're probably on like episode maybe 5 or 6 at this point. You're probably a pro now.
I think 5.
No nervous, obviously, but I mean, what are you looking forward to? Why do you keep coming back? I mean, there's what itch is this scratching for you? Like, what do you enjoy the most about being in Kart Talk?
I mean, I definitely like whenever I'm invited with people that I vibe with, and like whenever we've gotten together for me to come back, I've always loved the gang that we get together. So that's one. And like, aren't we all Mario Kart addicts here? So that's basically it. But yeah, no, always, open and happy to support the show because it's just such a corner of the community. So yeah.
Awesome. And then, as I mentioned, you were nominated through Wootmoo. Welcome, man. So this is probably, I think, your third, maybe fourth episode. I was thinking back to the other couple weeks ago about the episode that you first were on, where I was using a different platform, and I think you scrapped together what was remnants of that episode, and get all your help there. But I appreciate it. We're going to get into a lot of more of your story. But how are you doing in general? Are you still fatigued from last couple of performances?
Yeah, I'm very, very tired. Thank you for the invite, by the way, but I'm just really, really exhausted after grinding like a back-to-back ACR, and I honestly didn't expect I would be able to make it through it, but with the help of like the support of my friends, like especially Kareem and Avi, who I'll talk about later, they were like really, really helpful through getting through it all, and I really appreciate them being on today with me talk about it.
So Wootmoo mentioned it, back-to-back ACR, and we're all thinking like, oh yeah, back-to-back ACR, not a big deal. No, back-to-back top 10
Top
ACR,
10.
Yeah.
which is insane. And so I mean, I've attempted it. I think I went like a tour in between, and like that was alone exhausting. So kudos to you, congratulations. We'll do a nice little round of applause now, and we'll dive into more of that story as we go on, because I do want to hear how these two wonderful people were able to help you along the way. But I first want to introduce Jerome. He's our new face to the Kart Talk episode. I always like to introduce new people to the community. This is one of my favorite parts about just having a podcast, is hearing new opinions, hearing other people's experiences. So welcome, Jerome. Because you are new, tell the community a little bit about yourself, how you got started playing Mario Kart Tour, where you're located, and some of the things that kind of keep you going at this point in time in the game.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm living in Germany, in Hamburg. Pretty cold here, raining all the time. That's why I'm wearing this clothes. Yeah, I actually just placed like since 7 months now. I have like a couple of friends who are like grinding the game all day long. Like they have no other things to do, looks like. And they introduced me to the game, like rank 80 or something now. Pretty high.
Wow, that's great. Tier 80?
Yeah.
In 7 months. That's awesome, man. Congratulations.
Thank you. And yeah, they keep me grinding. They freaks about this game. I'm kind of new, but I'm looking forward to it. It's nice to be here.
Well, good. We always like hearing from newer players. It's a different experience than some of us who've been doing this from day one and or during the pandemic. So I'm excited to hear your viewpoint. I think it'll be unique comparatively across the board. So I do have an icebreaker. The icebreaker is what is one moment, maybe a favorite moment, where you and along with a friend were able to enjoy the game in a very unique way, one that you look back on this game, you're like, I remember that one moment where the community or a friend was involved in an experience. And I'll actually have Wootmoo go last, because I think that'd be a good segue to why he's even here in the first place. But maybe if we don't mind, Jerome, do you mind going in reverse order? We'll let you share an experience. You mentioned two friends with you. I don't know if you guys do voice chat or you guys do multiplayer. How do you enjoy this game with your friends? And do you have one?
Yeah, actually, it was like 1 week ago, like in rank. We were in the cinema. We were playing like Mario Kart, and I needed like 7 more K or so in rank to get the first place, and like we were grinding for 5 hours the track and like multiplayer between us. And then there was a moment where I had like 2 boomboxes, and like I was able to like hit the boombox, and he was able to get with the boomerang, and we made like the high score, and like we scream in the cinema and everything. They froze us out, but I think
In
it
the
was
movie
worth it.
theater?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
They froze out, and it worked out. Got the rank.
They really throw you out?
Yeah, they did, but I mean, the movie was boring anyway. It was just like to spend more time. So we played Mario Kart in it.
Okay.
It was kind of funny.
Now I have to ask, what movie were you guys seeing that was so boring? I want to make sure not to see that one.
It was Oppenheimer.
Oh, okay. Oh, so it's pretty recently then, maybe a week or two ago.
Yeah, it was 1 week ago, maybe.
Oh, wow. Well, if it got you to tier 80, congratulations. And hopefully you didn't get banned from the movie theater for the rest of your life. Hopefully you get welcome back.
Right.
Avi, what would you mind sharing just one experience, one moment that kind of stood out where you and another friend in the community, like that experience stood out as like part of, you felt like part of something, just that you weren't just playing alone, but you actually felt like part of a community?
I mean, there have been quite a few because we hang out on VC a lot. I don't want to do this one yet or talk about this one yet, because then we're gonna have to like just jump onto Wootmoo's experience.
Yeah, don't steal thunder, but I'm sure you have.
But I think we get to the point where we're like in that crunch of either top 10 or top 100 or just world records and whatnot, that that we're kind of a little bit delirious, especially when the tour is ending and you might miss an opportunity of any of this, or just XP grinding that you're obsessed into getting to 400 sooner rather than later. And it got to a point where there's another person in this chat named Karim and myself, that we were so tired that we were stupidly tired. And we went into like the area where we became basically terrorists on this chat. And we're both moderators in this VC.
Oh, God, yeah.
And we just started changing the names of everyone.
Oh,
And
wow.
at some point, everyone was Tyler, everyone was Whitmo, everyone was Kareem. And I couldn't stop laughing to the point that like I spilled coffee all over my desk. But it was like 5 in the morning for me, and like God knows what hour for others. But it's gotten to the point that we talk to each other on soundboards. I think in the last few tours, we became really, really tight as a group of friends or colleagues in the game, as you would. But yeah, there's like, it's so much of like inside jokes and stuff that we've created in the last 4 tours or so that I think I really enjoy myself being with you guys. Yeah.
Awesome. If you're listening at home, you're like, man, that sounds like pretty awesome. There are plenty of different Discord servers and communities to get a part of. I can't promise you that you'll be as tight as Avi and Kareem and Wootmoo, etc. But there's always a lot of great people in the community. Just like Jerome was saying, like there's a lot of don't feel like you have to play this game alone. There's a lot of great people who are playing it, and they're all welcoming. This is one of the communities. I felt like a gaming community would be like a little bit more standoffish, but we're always welcomed and appreciate everyone being here as well. Kareem, you were mentioned, without stealing the thunder from Wootmoo, what's like one experience where you really shared an awesome moment with one or more people in the community?
Well, so the first thing that came to mind was Shrimping 1.0, but I don't think maybe I shouldn't mention the accomplices for fear that they may not want to be named. But that was absolutely hilarious, because the positions you'd get into in the court and pick honestly, that was a good laugh. So the people who were involved in that, they'll know who they were. That was pretty good. But just going off more recent times, I was so maybe this is a bit cruel on my part, but I don't think I've ever laughed so much in my life. So Shadow Legend, who's also a part of our group or whatever, was going for his own top 10, which turned out its own thing. And he needed a double boombox, like a boombox and a coin wasn't enough. And he got it. He got the double boombox, and he was clear and he was free. And it was on Piranha Plant Cove, with the little clams that open up. And I don't know why. It was coming near the end, and I just was like, he doesn't need that extra 1 action, but I knew he was going to go for it, and he did. And it
Clam.
got him, and then he got stuck behind it and ended up essentially humping the clam, couldn't escape, and ended up coming in second. It was like a laugh or cry moment where people felt so bad that they just went quiet. And at the time, were very consoling, because he was kind of distraught. But then 3 days later, I mean, honestly, like, it's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. Someone grinding for like 7 hours and then just ends up stuck behind a clam. And that's the good thing is that when things are getting a bit serious, we can get a bit uptight about the game. We actually get behind each other and we actually support each other. But while you're actually playing, God, man, I mean, Wootmoo, poor guy, he got absolutely roasted the last month. Poor bloke. I don't know how he survived, how he managed it. But that's the good spirit, that's the good nature, that's the camaraderie that comes with it. So similar in that aspect, it's being able to play the game with somebody else, and you'll talk about other things. People will talk about their jobs, or talk about whatever it is. But then when it gets down to the nitty and gritty, everyone's got your back. Everyone will help you out, and it's like that little, it's that common thread that we all share. So yeah, that's the latest sort of. It's hilarious, absolutely hilarious.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, we've all been there, right? Where we just need that one last action, and then we get a little too greedy. Well, good. I'm glad that you guys have had a lot of fun, been roasting each other. I think that when you get close to the friend group and you can say whatever you feel like, say whatever you want, and people know that you're coming from a good place. That kind of friendship doesn't happen every day. So I'm glad you guys found it, especially here in Mario Kart Tour.
Absolutely.
So, Larry, why don't you share one of your stories where you and a friend or a couple of people just had a memorable moment together in the game?
So yeah, for me it's of course it's cheat related. So I met Maxi like a few months ago, like I don't know, 10 months ago, and then we were starting talking about our sheets, and then we had like the plan to combine our work together so that we have to spend each tour not as many as before. Like before that, it was for me like 4 hours or 5 hours updating my sheet every tour. And then like I talked with him a bit, and that's good because like most of all the people in the community, like you're talking just about the game, but he's a person you can also talk about like sheets, and like for me like sheets is like a big part of the game. So and then I think we spent like 3 4 months around, and basically completely started from scratch the whole how we input the data into the sheet. And then we converted our old sheets to a new version, and then like we have the data sheet, and then we use a script to basically copy that to our sheets, and then from the user it would still looks normal, but for us it would save a lot of time. So now we like spending together like an hour, and then we already have everything done. And then recently there was also the anti-left top 10 ranking. Like every time he was on vacation, it was like I still want to do it, and then it took like I don't know 8 9 hours to like checking all the formulas, because it's always difficult if you look at other work. And then I basically also rewrote his sheet, so it also used the same data source. So and this tour when Antilov was on vacation, it was like it's really like starting the script and then changing the tour number and then copy the data, and then it's like 10 minute work, and then the ranking is done, and it's 100% correct, unlike before where there was like I missed this, I missed that. So that was like yeah, a good moment. And then also when when Maxi helped me in April, there was like an error, like suddenly nothing was working on my sheet, and was like really panic, and I went to bed, and then like it's still not working because like my sheet is with a lot of pictures, but suddenly the picture were loading and unloading, and that was because Google changed something on Google Drive, so you can not longer take the pictures from there. And it took like I don't know 4 or 5 days to find the error. And then like I don't know, I think Maxi also helped me there. I think we had like sessions until like 3 a.m. where we fixed everything so that things like the rundown can still happen and other stuff. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I appreciate all the work that you and Maxi have done to automate a lot of this. And like I said, being able to use a lot of tools to automate things is definitely way better than some of the ways we were doing it back in the day. I mean, I just remember, I think Tabor was probably putting in 8 hours, and that was back when the game wasn't even like, changing as much as it was. I know you put, a lot of hours into each tour as well, but there's
I mean, just look at all the buffs. If we would still do it like the old way with writing that down manually and stuff like that. And then I also had the crazy idea to like, why not add translations to my sheets? So like two sheets, you can select German, and then the sheet is in German and stuff like that. And so like we're still looking to even add more data to our data sheet. Like we recently did the bonus challenges, so we're now adding all the bonus challenges or the scores. We also add for every track the scores and stuff like that. So there is there's still, and then I also there's also things like I want to add, like how is the item obtainable and where was it used, and then maybe things like how many me suit was in which tour and which me racing suit or stuff like that, or adding all the bundle picture to my picture archive. So there's like still I would need, I don't know, 100 hours a day to even do that.
Never stops, man. It never stops. Yeah, I
No,
appreciate
no.
the ambition to just keep adding to it. I mean, you're doing a phenomenal job, and I really appreciate that. I will add, one of the things is, having this YouTube channel. I'm really glad that I get to do it with friends. For me, I wouldn't even do like a reaction, like a lot of people would do like the Wednesday morning reaction videos, and I just never really found like a lot of interest in it because I was like, oh, you're just kind of looking at stuff. You're like, oh, look at this, look at that. But I started doing it because I wanted to incorporate my friends. I wanted to incorporate the stud members and give them a way to interact with me. And honestly, I have a blast every Wednesday. It's become one of my favorite parts of every tour. I think this probably Kart Talk and the rundown. I mean, both of it is probably the highlights of my Mario Kart experience every tour, is just being able to hang out with my friends. And so huge shout out to Tabor and Antilev and specifically them just joining me on the rundown. It's been fun just kind of seeing. I mean, I think Antilev and I have been doing it now for like 2.5 years, which is pretty crazy to think. So anyway, that for me, I just appreciate the entire community, but specifically I appreciate all the support we get, even adding Alberto to the mix and Larry, everything that you do as well. So without further ado, we'll jump into Whoop Whoop, and we'll kind of start. It's pretty safe to say that the experience that you've had has been these last two back-to-back top 10 experiences. So I would love to hear from you, just from the start, like how did this experience go? Because you did get top 10 in the past. So what was different this time? What got you into it? And then who talked you into doing it back-to-back? Because that just seems like hell on earth.
Yeah. So I'll answer the icebreaker. My favorite moment was probably like my first ACR, where I didn't know a lot of people personally in the community. Like I never really talked to anyone, like or I never really got like close to anyone until that tour where me, Tyler, and my friend Scrub and Shadow Legend and everything started joining voice calls in Kart Life. And so eventually we always kept talking, and as I said in like the last Kart Talk, we were all having a lot of fun in there, and eventually getting the badge in the end. It was kind of like a really fun and memorable moment in the in my time in the community. But I'll just move on to the ACR now. So honestly, I don't really know why I did it on the first time, because I guess it's mainly because I'm a little worried about the future of the game. I know people do say like the game could go into a loop, or level 9 can come, or all these different theories that people just keep bringing up. But it kind of had me a little worried that if I do want to do another top 10 in the future, I won't be able to do it because I'm cutting my spending down on the game, and I won't be able to have enough tickets to cover things like level 9. And so that's why I said when the Sunshine Tour came, which is the Toadette badge, I said these tracks look really fun. The upgrades are really good, and I only had around like 30 high-end tickets for carts and for drivers and glider, but I only had 20 cart or so because I just invested into the gold and black shielded.
Nice.
Yeah, but I had around like 30-ish of each cat ticket, except for glider, which I only had 22, but I got the rest in ranked for that tour. And one of the upgrades was the Wavy Great Sail to level 8 quad. So far that glider's been doing really good. So that was a really good upgrade. And other things are like the Wiggler Me to level 7 and the Yellow Me to level 8 triple, and other little things like that. So I was like, I'm just gonna do it, and hopefully that a Rosalina badge won't come right afterwards because I had a feeling that I was telling everyone like whenever these old drivers like Swimmer Rosalina, King Luigi's Mansion, all these random old drivers start getting random buffs on their bottom shelf, on their second shelf and top shelf. When they start randomly getting tracks, it usually hints that they're going to return in a spotlight. For example, even Ping Luigi, who's coming right next tour in Spotlight, he just got like 3 or 4 buffs recently on top shelf. So that kind of just proves the point that old drivers, when they start getting random buffs, that they're going to return. But I had the same thing for Swimmer Rosalina because she started getting like a random. She got like a random buff, and that usually never happens. So I said I have a feeling that once I do this top 10, she's gonna come right after in a spotlight for that bathroom track because she's the only driver that really fits the theme, and she's gonna be on the badge, and I'm gonna regret it. So, but I was like, no, I'm just gonna do it anyways. It probably won't happen. And then all of a sudden, it literally happened. Like, when Koopa V said he was gonna do a tour announcement, I was like, I swear, if it's gonna have her on the badge, I'm gonna flip out and be so angry because like it was like a big mistake. I acted too soon. I spent all my tickets, and I won't be able to do it because I'll have nothing going into that next following tour. And so Koopa V did the announcement, and sure enough, he says that Swimmer Rosalina is in the spotlight, and I just got so angry. I was like, I mean, there's no point in stopping now, but because I'm already like 30 tracks done in like 5 days, and now I can't really stop now because I already did all the investments. So I just finished the tour, and eventually in the end, I did get the Toadette badge, and I was pretty happy. I wasn't like angry that I did it because the tour was still really fun. The tracks were all great, but but yeah, that I did eventually get in the end. All the upgrades are good, so come
Yeah,
the
so let me
following
ask you
tour.
that. So in between top 10 one, going into top 10, the second one,
Yeah.
how many tickets did you have? Were you were completely depleted at that point, right?
Yeah, I was actually like in the Sunshine Tour, I only had like 22 item tickets to start. And because I kept trying for world records, I kept burning my item tickets on world records. And sometimes I get them and then I lose them eventually. But I eventually just used all my item tickets that I got in through the tour resources and got them. But a tip that I got from Danny, which is a really good top 10 player, he said, what I did in my Yoshi tour, which is kind of like not really something you should be doing, is don't use item tickets on impulse. Like, I see a bot using a coin box. I should ticket and use maybe I can get a boomerang frenzy, but don't ever do that because unless you want to try it, but you'll eventually have to keep wasting more time looking for new lobbies if you want to keep saving the item tickets. So he said if a bot just uses a box, just let it go, and hopefully that you can get another one in the next restart or something. So I just took that advice and I preserved like every single item ticket I could for every single track, and eventually it actually worked out. I was able to get like every single track done, and eventually I had like 6 item tickets left in the end, and I just used those for like polishing up the tracks. But to answer your question, going into the next tour, I literally had 0 item tickets and I had 0 high-end tickets of everything. I had nothing at all because I spent everything in the last tour. But what I had to do to make up for that is I had to spend all my rubies, like everything. I had a good stash and I had spent all of them on Coin Rush to pull any high-end tickets I got from the shop in the tier shop. And I also had to like buy all the premium challenges again to get at as many high tickets as I could to bring my estimate up high. Because I was originally not going to do the vacation tour top 10, but man, I was like 30K off the cutoff, and like I was 30K above, and I said I'm just gonna try for it anyways, even though I have like no energy and any item tickets. And yeah, I did the tracker again, did the optimizer, and got a good estimate, good upgrades, which with what I could, and I also did that new dolphin cart which has a really good
Oh,
hitbox.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think.
Maybe this is a good time to segue into what did
Yeah.
Kareem
Yeah,
and Lee, like, how were they a part of your experience? They just watched you, or did they maybe cheer you on, right?
We watched, and I personally, my role really was to just imitate Woodmoo whenever he was having freakouts. I would like store all the information of all of his freakouts, and whenever he will start just about to start having one, I would just repeat everything that he had been saying, just cumulative, and he was just like die laughing for a good minute, and then would move up. That was my main role, really.
Yeah. So I'll add on to that. The first tour was it was pretty enjoyable. I did have like annoyances here and there, but in the vacation tour, it wasn't fun at all. Like I was like always frustrated. I was always like very, very annoyed and like very moody and always bringing the mood down in the voice call because of my negativity. I was always like,
it was like the first 2 days. It was like, what did I go for the previous one? No, I wanted to go for that one. Well, no, but nothing is working, guys. Nothing is working. And like, I'm like, Woodmoo, I'm not gonna go for it. I'm like, you're gonna go for it. We all know that you're gonna go for it. No, I can't go for it. I'm like, okay, you're not gonna go for it. Okay, that's a lie. But you're gonna go for it. And like half an hour would go by. I just got an S run. Oh, okay, great. So like you're obviously going for it, right? Well, maybe, I don't know. And like every day for like the first week was like this until he got like a good footing, and then it was like smooth sailing. But it was just hilarious.
yeah.
It felt a bit like you know, maybe what I felt like when I was like, you know, a pubescent boy when I was like 14, like one more, you know, because obviously being in the UK, I'm like, you know, 6 hours ahead or whatever. Whitmer would jump in, you know, we'd be sort of chatting away, and then suddenly we hear Whitmer come in because it's like 6 a.m. for him, and it's like midday for me. And I'm like having lunch, and I go, guys, guess what? And you can immediately tell from the tone and the enthusiasm, and then he'd get so down on himself. That's it. I give up. And then obviously the meme came. The game hates me. The game hates me. And my personal introduction to there's a whole lexicon to everything that we do. But the meme that I personally like the most was the bicycle, which Wumu uses all the time. It's always, oh my God, I had the best run ever. If only I had one coin frenzy or one more box. If only there was one more, I would have made it. I would have met estimate. And it's if only this. And it stems from a famous meme, you know, like if my mom had wheels, she'd be a bike. So in the end, in the end, like he's getting so, because I keep saying bicycle to him, bicycle. Yeah, and then he starts going, yeah, bicycle, I know, bicycle. So his his emotions are kind of going all over the place. And you could tell he was a little bit low on sleep. He started coming up with abbreviations for words. What was it? Like instead of red coins, they were roins. And
doubloins.
But there was
when it was like double coin frenzy was a doubloin.
Yeah. And so you've got these people, like 7 people listening to him come up with these in a I don't know, he's like a hypnagogic state. We don't actually know if he's really awake or asleep or what's going on. But no, I mean, it's absolutely hilarious. I think if it wasn't for that, if you were to sit through grinding that hard and as close as he came, that second ACR I'm referring to, which was very, very stressful. And honestly, it's not for the faint-hearted. And I mean that actually kind of seriously. I know we're talking about a game here, but it actually really is can test the mettle of most. And I don't think, I think, well, I'll let Wumu say this for himself, but if he didn't have people there, either, whether we're taking the mic or we're actually giving ideas or talking about whatever, I think it is a way that invigorates and gives him energy and vice versa. And then we all enjoy it. And then when he gets, he ends up making the top 10, we simultaneously like end up enjoying it vicariously through him. So, it almost felt like a top 10, for us as well. It was a very different one. It was, it was Ebony and Ivory. Like the first one, it was structured, it was like almost done, but within the first 5 days. And then the second one, in retrospect, maybe I mean, the fact that he achieved it, great. It was wonderful. But maybe should have taken a rest at that point. But to say that you've done it, you've gone back to back top 10s. I mean, that's no mean feat. That's not many people can manage that, can do that. Forget time. You can have all the time in the world. It's mentally just so draining. And so it's all about having the people around you who know when they can pull your leg, who know when you want some support or whatnot, and know when they need a mod to come in and kick them out of the VC just for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
It sounds like you guys had quite a fun time. I feel like bad that I wasn't a part of that experience myself, but no, I appreciate you sharing that. That's I don't know if that makes people excited to do that experience or deters them, because it sounds I've been playing around with potentially going for top 10 myself, and even hearing like the news of what could be coming in the near future with the game makes me even more excited to maybe potentially jump into it. We'll see what happens, but I'm not counting things out. I would say that one thing I've learned from just hearing you guys is just partner up, be able to share that experience. I feel like whenever I would jump into VCs or share my screen, I was super nervous about people judging me, saying, "Oh, really? You can't get like all 3 coins there? Like, what are you doing, you bum? Like, what are you even doing playing the game?" So like just super self-conscious. But I do think that if you are sharing that experience with friends, the good outweighs the bad, and so that's kind of hopefully what people take away from hearing that experience. But appreciate you guys sharing that. Anything else the 3 of you want to share about that experience, or anything that you recommend for people going kind of for that type of achievement?
Yeah.
Go for it.
I will say, the reason why I wanted Abby and Kareem to come on specifically, because they honestly, if it weren't for them, I wouldn't have been able to get it, because they made me a special top 10 sheet algorithm thing, where it was like a remix version of DKR sheet, where it helps you track your percentage. And I had to get over 100% to make both of them, specifically the second one, especially since my estimate was my estimate and my driver kart glider like numbers were like really low, and that really, really helped me like a lot to make sure that I was gonna make it. If it weren't for them, like I wouldn't be able to do it, and I really appreciate them for all the help that they gave me.
Yeah, I got to use that sheet, at least the beta version, last tour.
Yeah.
I really liked it because you kind of check it off and then move forward. One of the questions I was going to have is, I think when it comes to all cup ranking, one of the most important things is you have time. So curious, like how much time did you put into top 10 1 versus top 10 2?
The first one definitely didn't take as long as the second one. The first one, I was able to get like 32 tracks done in like 5 days. But those were like acceptable runs or S runs. And then I eventually went back and polished them. But the second one was taking a lot more time. Even with less boombox tracks, I just wasn't getting lucky, especially since I had to keep holding off using an item ticket because I went in with 0. So I would always have to like be very preservative, like with every single item ticket, make sure that I can only use it if I'm gonna beat the run. Otherwise, I have to quit the lobby if I use it and then find another one. It takes more time. But yeah, it was definitely the second one that took a really long time, and it was also the most stressful and least fun. Like it was like I was not having a good time at all. Like doing it. Like I was having a good time with my friends, but I wasn't having a good time doing the grind at all. It was just horrible and not fun.
Oh, 100 hours, 120 hours.
It was about like the first one was definitely 100 hours. The second one was probably like 120 more. I don't know really. I was just on the game all the time, especially even at night.
I was gonna say, I remember the first time you went for top 10, you had to take PTO for the 2 weeks. Did you take a whole month off then?
Yeah. Well, actually, it's a complicated story, but I'll just summarize it like with just like a couple of words. Like, I actually recently left my job recently. So I'm trying to change my career, and I already told Abby and Kareem this. That's why I had a lot of time on my hands. It wasn't that I wanted to leave my job. It's just because I've always felt like I had to, just because like of what I did at my job. Like the working conditions and everything. I didn't want to be in that field anymore, so I wanted to change my careers. But that's why I had this window of like just short window of time to like get to top 10 before I move on.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. That's the perfect time to do it. I feel like the best time to. I heard recently someone was saying that like people in jail here in America, like they now get tablets and they can play games. I was like, dude, maybe I should go to jail. That's like the only way to get top 10 is like if I saw.
Oh my god!
Honestly, that was my first thought. That was my first thought. I was like, I found my way. I could finally do it.
What petty theft could I do to land me in jail?
I just need to be in there for 2 weeks. That's it. Can I get a hookup? Let's see what happens. Yeah, that's pretty. No, appreciate you sharing that.
Can I mention one more thing?
Sure, man. Yeah.
I will say, on the last like couple of days of the second ACR, Kareem kind of like he scared the crap out of me because on like the last like 2 days or something, or I forget. All of a sudden he started raising his score really high, like right behind me, and I started texting Abby. I was like, Abby, I'm getting really scared. Kareem is getting right behind my score, and if he passes me, I'm probably not gonna make it at all. He was like, I wasn't sure if I was gonna go for it or not.
It was legit, like, Woodman, don't worry. He's not gonna pass you. And me type into Greg, don't you be the sniper. Don't you be the sniper. And he, no, I'm not gonna be the sniper. He's not gonna be the sniper. He's gonna snipe me. He's not gonna be the sniper. It was like a whole 2 days of paranoia. Even though Kareem was never. But yeah.
You're taking me back now. Those last couple of days, man, just like you're in your head and you're just like about it. Well, good, man. Well, cool. That's really helpful. And I think we kind of have heard that story. I think that's one of the focal points of just thinking about friends and community. And I do want everyone to kind of chime in a little bit on what we talked about last episode. So not everyone got to see the episode, totally fine. But we talked about just the future of Mario Kart Tour. And we got pretty. It actually was the most watched Kart Talk episode this year. Had Sammy D and Antelev and some other great people on, Matt Allridge and others. I think one of the things that we took away from it is like, I think Koopa V mentioned like, there's plenty more that he hasn't even discovered. There's like entire sections of the data mine that he hasn't even uncovered yet. So a lot of things could happen, but we do feel that the anniversary could be a big opportunity for Nintendo to switch things up. There were kind of some hypothesis around potentially going into some kind of loop mode where Nintendo can kind of spin the top and walk away and just like let the game just kind of repeat itself. Which I think a lot of the community was like, hey, if it gets to that point, I remember this be Crispy saying like, hey, if it gets to that point, I'm just probably walking away from the game. Like I've been, for him, maybe might have been on the fringe for a while. But I think a lot of us would still probably play it. Others, I think when I was talking with Raker, he thought like, maybe there's like a month-long tour, and it just kind of like, instead of 45 tracks, there's like 100 and whatever, and like maybe that's one way that they do it. And there's been plenty of speculation that or that just that the game continues as normal. And I think some of the conversations were maybe they introduce a new asset to the game, like a new ticket that's not level 9, not cap tickets, but a lot of speculation. I'd love to get your viewpoints before we move on to this tour and next tour. I'd love to hear, what are your speculations for the future of Mario Kart Tour? And anyone can jump in. If no one wants to jump in, I'll call on Jerome, because I feel bad we have.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any like kind of expectations, to be honest. Like, I'm just playing the game how it is, and I take what we get.
Let me ask
I'm
you
not
this.
playing too much. Yeah.
This is for some of us, we've been playing this for years, and some of us are getting more burnt out than others. Is the game like, are you getting burnt out at all, or are you still really enjoying the game just as much as day one?
I enjoyed how it is. Like, I watched videos from day one. I'm fine with how it is right now. Of course, it would be nice if we get some new items or tracks maybe, but I'm definitely okay with how it is right now. Yeah, I'm not playing too much. I'm playing like maybe I play when the new tour starts, I play all tracks in like 1 day or 2, and then I'm good for like 1.5 weeks kinda, and don't play it, just looking at the shop. I got my gold shark 2 weeks ago, so with that I was like, okay, now everything can go by itself. I got my gold shark, I'm good.
Old Chuck, yeah. I know you were looking forward to getting him. Hitting tier 80 gold me suits right there. And yeah, I think you're probably on more like a cruise control. I think honestly, probably more of us should play the game like that as compared to 120 hours. But that's another story. But some of us really enjoy this game and have more time on our hands than others. But no, it's helpful to hear. What do you guys think? The rest of you guys, what do you think about the future of Mario Kart Tour? What do you think could be coming maybe in the anniversary?
I would say this has been a topic of conversation for so long, and I'm loath to give any prediction, because I think it will inevitably be wrong. Level 9 or whatever aside, that may come or may not come. I have no idea. But I think it's a question of, will Nintendo do something or will they not? And if they end up doing something, honestly, I don't think it's anything we've thought of. I know I've said that before in a past Kart talk. And if they decide to do nothing, well, and it goes on a loop, I mean, I'll probably still play. I just won't. I mean, that will probably put an end towards me investing. Like, what's the point really of investing money if it's just, eventually you're just going to acquire the resources because you're on a loop. I mean, there've been, whether it's these special tickets or different items, or I'm like, what's the bloody point of the balloons? Can you stop making a balloon make, a pipe gold? Stupid things like that. But I'm someone who likes numbers and data, and you give it to me and I'll try and figure out the best way to end up doing it. Give me the creative aspect of it, and I haven't got the foggiest. So I just hope that Nintendo still has the desire to keep on going with the game. I don't know if that involves mixing it somehow with, Mario Kart 8 or something like that. I have absolutely no clue at all. But like everybody else, there's a reason that, I mean, before we went live, like, I'm helping, my girlfriend, I'm helping her choose things. I mean, there's a reason I'm doing that. Obviously, I enjoy it, but I get to relive the early stages of my Mario Kart Tour account. Like when I'm thinking about taking things to level 4 and single capping something, and what should I do, and now I can do things better than I did it myself. And so I'm living those early moments through her account. With my own account now, it's what I choose to make of it at the moment. And if Nintendo wants to bring something new to the table, I will adjust. I don't care if it's a bad idea. Just anything that shakes things up.
Any idea? Okay.
Well, okay, any idea? Okay, that's a loose term, but like something that may be unpopular. I mean, when new levels will come out or whatever, generally these are met. These are unpopular, whether it's whether it's to do with the token pipe, or whether it's to do with daily selects, or whether it's the level 8. They never tell people don't like their feathers ruffled, but then actually in the long run, it creates longevity. And so I don't mean unpopular in the sense that they actually just make a terrible decision, but something that makes you have to think differently, do something differently. How that comes about, people have speculated, about is, like combining, items like, I know that's what was one of Sammy's ideas and stuff. I just, yeah, I just think when it comes, if it comes, we won't see it coming.
Oh, so you don't think
Yeah.
it'll happen with the anniversary?
No, because like whenever we've expected something from Nintendo, like on this specific day, this will happen, or like whenever we expect something, it doesn't come, and then something happens. That's how Nintendo, that's how Mario Kart, like the most obvious things in the game, they miss, but then they do some really great stuff that's like, oh wow, that actually, like that we take for granted. And I don't know when the swipe up, came. Like, I bet no one noticed at that point in time, but everyone's noticed all the little glaring mistakes that they've done when they do a season like 2 tours early or something stupid like that. It's just like, why would you do something so silly? That's part of the charm of Nintendo and Mario Kart Tour, is half the time it doesn't make sense.
That is true. Avi, Larry?
So yeah, I'm just okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. No. You probably have a better opinion than I do.
Okay, so I'm just hoping that they do something, like, cause it looks like nothing will happen to the game. So and if that's really now one of the last tracks, then it's just cause they were like track. Like I'm asking for months that they slow down so that I don't have to grind like 8, 12, 16 tracks a tour for player level. Like they are right now I still need 4 tracks for player level. Yesterday I grinded almost like 5 to 6 hours, and it was like only 2 tracks, and the last one was like 70 races and stuff like that. So they I want more tracks, but they should slow down a bit. Like like 4 tracks a tour is okay, but not 8, not 12, not 16 tracks. Like I feel like they will probably put Madrid free, Rome free, and then also all the city RT tracks all just in one tour. And we're also at the point where like the community like like a few years ago, people had the filler tour was when we didn't got new content, and now people are at the point where they think a filler tour is when they only get like, I don't know, a Game Boy Advance track. And I think Nintendo did the mistakes so that
We
that they
need more filler.
basically what?
I think we need more filler tours. I think we've become we've become spoilt, if you like. So now when I see that there's 8 new tracks, as you mentioned, or something like
Yeah.
what, 2 new sets of tracks, or maybe 3 new sets of tracks, it's like, okay. I remember, going through months without a track or whatever, and now, when we see that there's potentially no new track, everyone's like, oh God, I get to like take a break and save a few tickets and all that. And yeah, I think we've become spoiled to the point of like, it's like Augustus Gloop, and we've eaten so much chocolate that we're becoming sick now. Like, I think it would be good to like chill and remember, like, I think people are getting so excitable about it. Like, and with good reason, you know, people have invested in, and it's a game and all that. But we have to remember that that's what it is. I know that's such a cliche thing to say, and you shouldn't say that to Mario Kart Tour players. It's just a game. But like, what I mean is, to enjoy it, you need to understand what it is that you do to enjoy it. And some people, like Larry and Abby, love grinding player level.
I mean, I have to do it.
I totally get that whole, you know, some people, you know, that completionist element for some people. Other people, it's winning ranked, like at all costs, they must win ranked. Other people, you know, Wootmoo, who's like, you know, about to throw himself off a building, but no, I'm going to get that second ACR no matter what. I don't care how many deployners I need, he'll end up doing it. And everyone plays their own way. And so for that very reason, I would say, you know, find your little niche in the game, like not just the community, but what it is you actually enjoy doing. If you don't like doing XP, don't do it. Or, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Get your girlfriend to do it for you.
Oh, yeah, that's one way to do it. Yeah, I mean, like I just for those watching at home who didn't know what Larry was talking about, with just having 4 tracks left. When you especially on 200 cc's, you can grind a track. Your little player level goes bing, it goes up a little bit. Larry's literally grinded every single track until there's no EXP player level left. So you're probably, my guess, I'm gonna guess this, 420.
No, I think I did toolboxing at the start of the tour, and it was 408.
400
So
player level 408. So
yeah,
to put that in
408,
perspective,
yeah.
I've been playing for a very, very long time, and I think I'm 283. So it just shows you how many, like, that's what he does. Now, for me, to your point, I just do top 100 every single tour. I think I've missed 5 tours in the last 2.5 years. So I'm trying to change the name to top 99, because I'm just going to be there every tour. That's my favorite thing. There's 99 other spots other people can get, because I'm going to be there. That's how I play the game. So from that perspective, everyone has their fun, and for Jerome, it's playing that first day, and that first day is fun enough that, it gets him excited about. I think the part that everyone enjoys about the game more than any other game that we've played is the fact that every 2 weeks something changes, and we get to, and whether that's grinding EXP or top 100, we get to do it all over again. And it's to be honest with you, my schedule, like my life, kind of. I just know, like, hey, this is like week 1 Wednesday. This is week 2 Wednesday. This is week, and I certainly have posts within my Discord server that happen on the second Thursday of the month. I let everyone know about the action count track of the month of the tour, and the Friday I'm talking about the podcast, etc. So to me, like, my life revolves around, from a schedule perspective, I know like what day of the week it is based on what task I have related to the game. So I'm pretty excited. I'll be starting my top 100 grind here soon, and it'll be a fun one. But no, certainly good points there. And Keon asks specifically, and I'd love to get Avi, did you get to answer that question? I'm sorry, I moved on pretty quick. Did you have
well, pretty much whatever we've already said. But I honestly think that we may get a slowdown in how much development the game has had in the last year, but I don't think realistically, or I would think that would be my take if I were part of this business. I don't think realistically the game it's heading to a complete shutdown like some people have been like freaking out about. I honestly, and Kareem has heard about my annoyance at this, I feel like people are overreacting. I get the logic behind it, but I think they're either seeing black or white. Yes, we may get a repeat mode, but it might not be as bad as people are imagining. Or we may not get any more Miis, and then the people that don't like Miis will be happy, and the rest of us would have accomplished whatever we accomplished collecting them, and so on. But it also ties into the reality that we've been asking for, is that the game needs a shakeup in one way or another. And maybe the shakeup is that, okay, the game is going into maybe not deprecation mode, but not as ambitious as it was once. But I honestly believe with however you appreciate how much money the game brings into Nintendo or how little, it's still revenue for Nintendo. So it's not realistic to say, oh, it's just like it doesn't the game doesn't matter anymore. If it didn't matter anymore, they wouldn't be spending money in development anymore. Even if it was slated a year ago and releasing it now, it's still an investment that is still producing money for Nintendo. And if you have one of the most successful adaptations of a classic game to mobile, I think it would be a really dumb idea to think that the game is just going to shut down from a business side. But I also like, I don't have any illusions that people actually listen to my advice. I think that freaking out about something before you even have actual news from Nintendo and actual verifiable news from Nintendo is just making yourself sick over nothing. Because, okay, yeah, we can trust the information that PUBG releases and has been accurate half the time, but also take with a grain of salt that what he says and how he says it. Because he said a bunch of times, there's going to be news about the future of the game. And people read that as like, oh, there's no future to the game. He didn't say that.
Yeah.
He just said the future of the game. And there's going to be news. News could be good, it could be bad. So like, just for mental health, like just chill and enjoy what you've had and what you will continue having, because it is what it is. Like,
yeah,
things,
for those who have not been in the Discord swirl of information, there was something that was data mined that just said update. That's like literally all we have.
Yeah.
And it's going to come at some point down to the store. But like just that alone is just sending us into a tizzy where any little update could be like, what kind of update are we going to get? Is it going to be this? Or it could be just like some of the old phones can't use the game anymore or something like that. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think we overreact a little bit from that respect, but it could be also something big too. I do think though, one of the reasons that, for those of you who weren't who did not know this, there have been a number of mobile track lists in the game, and the final one that was in there, that's been there for probably a year or two, is finally used. That's the Madrid. MOBMD standing for Madrid, the mobile game. So for those new to data mining and we're not aware of that, like everything else has been, all those assets have been allocated. Koopa V came out and said, hey, there's this other section of the game. They could always add this. I think I think for the anniversary, it's always a great time to to me, that seems like the perfect time to just do a major update where you have to actually do go to the App Store and download a newer version of it and just drop a bunch of new tracks that you've been working on in there. I think that's super easy. But then also, at the end of the day, a lot of the number of tracks that they've been giving us has been unsustainable. One of the questions from Kian was specifically, there's still many retro tracks they could port into Mario Kart Tour. So it's going to be interesting to see what the future holds for retro tracks and new drivers. I think I feel like when it comes to karts, they've done just about everything. They got literally a plane, and they got a dolphin, they made trains. They have basically anything you can think of is a kart. For drivers, I think they could probably squeeze out, a variety of this person's wearing a hat, or they can make vacation, Mario, vacation Birdo, and vacation, Yoshi. They basically could every alt you see in there.
Other food items.
I think the drivers, but I think when it comes to the carts, we're kind of running out of things to turn into a cart. For gliders, you can just pick anything that you wanted that exists in the world around us to just make it a glider. That seems super easy. Carts seem a little harder, but anyway, and it's unfortunate that that's the one that they picked to bombard us with the highest quantity of. So, but going to Kian's question, retro tracks, I have to ask Larry. Larry is the retro track king. From that perspective, how many? I mean, do you know how many karts or how many tracks there are out there, or like is because to me, I'm like there have to be running all these tracks, but there are apparently some still in the game, like still have not been introduced to tour.
So yeah, we have 100 retro tracks from Super Mario Kart to Mario Kart 7. And out of those, we have 72 in the game right now. So they can still add 48 retro tracks to the game. But with if they keep releasing them, then they run out, I don't know, in a year. Because I remember DS Mario Circuit was the 60 track. So it was like 50% there. And back when I saw that, I was like, because I never expected that we see all the tracks, but then I was like, if we're going closer and closer to that, then I just want all the tracks. But Nintendo is also known for basically doing like 90%, and then the 10% is like no. Because I think the in Super Smash Ultimate, they brought back all the characters and like 100 stages, but there are like only 10 stages which they didn't brought back. Like if you put the effort in bringing 90% of the stages or something like that, then please bring everything back. And also another game I thought that is more like a casual game, that's the Wii Fit series. We have Wii Fit Plus, and Wii Fit U. And Wii Fit Plus was basically Wii Fit, but with more activities. But then when they did Wii Fit U, they removed like, I don't know, 8 or 10 games out of nowhere. So I like, why can they not also bring them over? So it will be like, if they continue doing that, if they continue doing tracks for months, I assume that they will stop like, I don't know, very short of the 120 if they won't do 120.
Yeah, that's interesting. Makes me optimistic that they'll keep bringing in more, because it seems to me like it's unsustainable. But I think even last Kart Talk we talked about potentially they had a contract where the developers like NDA or NEDA, whatever it is, that's like making some of these games, like they had to make a certain amount in a certain period of time. Like before the next, before the anniversary, you gotta, and maybe they signed this contract like 3 years ago. Before, in 3 years you have to make this money, and so they've been like, oh, we're behind the schedule. We're just going to introduce them left and right. I mean, that was good speculation. That was cute. That was fun. I think it's an interesting idea, but I think we'll never know until we get sit behind the curtains. But no, I think that's really interesting. It gets me excited. I think there's another part that we mentioned, I think Anselov mentioned, was the Ruby challenge, the tier 99 Ruby challenge. Like someone, like Jerome will be still working on that for, another year. Like even today, if he were to win ranked every single tour, he still would not get that last Ruby challenge for 12 months from now. So it gives me at least hope. If nothing else, this game's going to be around for at least another year. We'll see what happens from that point forward. But then there's another idea from Crazy. He said, we can all agree that the game needs a little shake up at this point. What better way than a new plus skill? So it's kind of curious, if you had to choose or design a new skill that ends up being a 5th plus skill, what do you think it would be, and what driver would get it? So I'm not sure if you guys had a lot of time to think about that, because it's pretty
2 years discussing this, and it's gone from lines of coins with Hoover, like vacuum cleaners, and I don't think anyone's ever come up with a definitive sort of like. You know what, the Tanuki Leaf was a bit of a shame. That could have been a good plus skill. I don't know what Nintendo was, how they got that so wrong. Yeah, I think there was a potential there, but I guess that then kind of follows a little bit boomerang, if you like. But as I said, I've got absolutely no creativity in terms of like what the skill would be. I would look to old items, things like the PAL block. Could you somehow utilize that in some which way? I don't know. But when you're an action count business, I don't know. I would look to the old stuff pals, ghosts, things like that, stealing things. I have no idea. But just trading off your last point, I wanted to ask you stuff at this. If Nintendo announced that, let's say, the game was going to shut down in 6 months, is there any way that we could get you to go and get that top 10 badge? Like, would you get it before, like, somehow? I know you're a busy man and a
I mean,
family.
he needs to get in jail.
Yeah,
first.
that's
He
pretty
already
precarious. I
said
realize. It's
that.
my only thing holding me back is that.
Yeah,
No,
absolutely.
if you want to
Don't worry.
watch kids for 2 weeks, and I could probably get the PTO.
Oh, done.
No.
Abby will look after the kids. I'll look after the pool.
Sure. Okay.
Good.
Let's do that.
No, I like the idea, man. Like I honestly, I've been seriously considering. I have a big conference on the 20th, September 20th, which is a Wednesday. And we're on vacation up until Labor Day, which kind of ends Tuesday. We might even stick around Wednesday or into Thursday, but I'm pretty clear from like next Wednesday on. So who knows? We'll see what happens. It's got to be. I did make an investment. I had a pretty good stash of tickets. I made one investment, and one of the reasons I felt safe about the investment is because one, it's one of the best gliders in the game, the wonderful Diamond. But then two, I saw it has a lot of vanilla lakes, a lot of snowland. It has a lot of snow tracks for those who maybe hadn't noticed that part of it. So for me, I'm like, hey, if I noticed once I saw that we'll be going and getting some vanilla lake and some snowland and some hi-fi Sunday, wonderful Diamond's got to be a big part of that mix. So I don't know, I've already kind of preemptively somewhat put some chips in the pot. We'll see what happens, but I appreciate you thinking about me, man. We'll it's, I don't know, it's one of those things where as time goes on it becomes less important, but it's still kind of like, I don't know, still kind of like
it's
haunts you a little bit.
like that one time, like when you're in that one time, it's like it's a good mix of it's challenging, it's tough, but it's like, it's like running a marathon. It's not fun running a marathon. I wouldn't know, I've never run a marathon, but I can imagine. I can imagine when you hit the hit the wall. It's probably not like, ooh, this is a laugh. But it's the satisfaction you get from it, and the skill, and everything that you've put into it. And, as a stalwart of the whole community, like, I don't know, I think, I don't want to put any unnecessary.
Well, no, I mean, I'll be on.
I will be ending my membership and
ending my membership. I'm never going to do it.
to leave and create the anti-Studfit clan if he doesn't go for it.
Oh my god!
I don't do it. Wow, that's a lot.
See, this is a terrorism that I've been talking about.
See, this is like bullying 101. I feel like peer pressured into doing something. No, I mean, honestly, all the other top 10 attempts I did, I consulted Rashid and Auto Drift and asked if there was an opening. If there seems like there's 1 or 2 spots open and I have the time, I have no problem going for it. But I haven't had the time up until now. We have a specific deadline that there were 2 deadlines, August 1st and September 5th. So, the seas are sliding to open. But I will say, every time I've gone for top 10, I've done it in secret. I have never told my wife, never told any, the people that I would actually need support from. So, I've already mentioned to my wife, this is something that I'd like to do one day. And she was like, wow, okay, that sounds pretty stupid. Why don't you just do it then? And I was like, okay, all right, well, here's what it's going to take then. It's going to take, you doing this, and this, it's going to take this. And so, we've had some conversations. We'll see what happens. But ultimately, it's gonna, if it's like a popular tour that everyone's going to go for, like a Bowser tour last year, like I'm just not going to do that. But this next Sky Sunday, maybe it's people are a little scared of the nitro tracks, and we'll see what happens. But I am kind of curious. We have some other questions. Crazy asking a question about will we see Gold Mario coming out of the anniversary? Will he ever become playable? Which seems kind of like an end game type of move Nintendo would make. But what do you think about Gold Mario? Do you think we'll ever see one? Is he coming?
No.
Nah, my gut says no.
Anyone think yes? Maybe Jerome, what do you think, man? Gold Mario? You coming? Maybe not. But what do you guys think about specifically the last couple tours? So we had like a Nitro tour and then a City tour, and then we were kind of going back to a Nitro tour. It just seems like we haven't had like a lot of, regular retro tours, which I think people in those cases going for top 10, top 100, top 1000 seem a little bit more willing to kind of invest in that respect. But here we are back at Sky High Sunday. Do you think people are still a little reserved into investing in it, or has that started to kind of that thought process been diluted?
It's definitely been diluted for me. If I'm putting tickets into, Swift Talent and the green, Mark II, and I'm now looking. The biggest thing I can tell you is that when I go into my sheet, into my BAM Gerbs, the first thing I always used to do was eliminate city tracks. Now I'm looking and that tells you something, that I wouldn't be doing that otherwise. So I'm looking, I'm investing in things that I would have originally counted out. A part of that is also because it's something different, and I want to invest in what my dream, one day I want to invest in a brown off-roader. I mean, it's terrible, but I mean, it's awful, but I mean, come on, it's like
American dream.
An off-roader.
Yeah.
But I want to it'd be so good if they even gave me a reason for that. So, and I thought, I look at the Gold Eagle or Swift Talon, and I think, you know what? Yeah, so, and they're giving me reasons to look at them. So, I was completely remove cities out of the equation. And, and like on the BAM Gerbs, you can give them percentages like, oh, an RT is like 20, battle gets the most, and cities get like 2%. And I'm like, nah, I'm gonna give cities 15% now. So that's my personal take.
Okay.
I'll add on to what Kareem said. Like, I used to not really consider cities toward what I'm going to be investing in terms of items. But after my two recent ACRs, which included city tracks in the tours, I've grown to like having city buffs on my items a little more, like a lot, actually, a lot more, because they can really, really help when those tracks come back, whether it's ranked or ACR. They'll just randomly put them in ranked, and then you're already set when those items, when those tracks return. And honestly, I feel like cities should be considered now like more important in terms of like for coverage and everything, because we're seeing them show up more often than like the retros. Like, for example, Cuba Beach 2, it finally came back after so long, and now it's gone again, and it's never going to come back for a long time. And same with Rock Mountain. Royal Shipyard has been gone for a while now, and all these cities are just coming back and showing up even more than those tracks. So I feel like even though there's like a lot of variants to cover, they're not as bad when they get buffs on your favorite items or everything as we used to think. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, so would you still stack rank it though, the assumed tracks, the Nitro tracks, and then the city tracks?
Yeah, I would, but not as much as I would used to think. Like, not. Yeah, I guess so, but not as much as I used to consider it like back then.
Yeah.
Versus now.
If I could say, I would say that it's almost I instead of looking at tracks, it's almost like item recency. Like if it comes out in a track and on a city track, that item, it's like I would give more weight to if something's come out recently. It's going to appear over the next. So you just as track recency bias is there. There's item recency bias, and I would place more outside of that. I have no idea what Nintendo is going to do next. No clue. Sorry to cut you off, Abby. Apologies.
Green has heard about this, and I don't know if Larry and I have ever had this conversation, maybe, but I've told the story that when I first wanted to go for top 10, I talked to Antilla, like when would it be a good time to do this? And flat out, he went and told me, you should go on a city tour because no one wants to do that. Everyone has the worst coverage. And for me, that was such a thing that I didn't understand, not because I couldn't understand it. It was more like, I don't understand why people are doing this. Because it's just automatically crippling your account. And so for me, if you're putting things on a percentage of importance or whatnot, like Kareem was mentioning with the sheet, I mean, I never go and twiddle with that. I just like try to like go and see about coverage. And when I really want to get into that, okay, I go and tweak things. But for me, the whole thing of like, oh, well, this item has 8 city tracks over, I don't know, 6 regular tracks. For me, that has never been a deterrent. And the result is that, okay, I may not have a gigantic amount of tickets to put in only normal tracks, but I have a solid coverage everywhere. And so, for instance, this tour, it was more than like, for me, proof that my way of thinking worked for myself, for my own account. My medium throughout, and I'm not a whale by any means, my medium throughout is 7 in the level of things, and at least a double cap. And there's people that are going at things with level 1 drivers, level like middle tier cars and whatnot. And like, there was no need to do this. And I know that, you know, and we also have had this conversation on voice chat that, okay, it was hard to predict that such a behavior was going to change in terms of how tours were structured and how they were going to mix it up and whatnot. But even so, I feel like if you are a player of this game, and then the name of the game is Mario Kart Tour, why would you do that to yourself? Even if they come around so rarely, or they used to come around so early, I think in perspective, that was a mistake. And so for me, there's no change. This paradigm, there's no change. I'm just like, oh, great. I just continue doing what I'm doing. I just continue investing in stuff as it provides coverage in general than just singling out stuff.
And why didn't you put those tickets on Chef Rosa?
Because someone screamed at me and shamed me into not doing it.
I'm sorry. She had a choice between Chef Rosa or Gold Chuck. I mean, I didn't have to scream.
I have.
Anyway, private thing.
No, you know, I had a situation this past week actually, where I was using a level 3 Kart on the Madrid Drift. I think I was using Armored Rider. Could have thrown some tickets that way, or I was using a level 3 glider for Moonview T, and so that's where I decided to go with Wonderful Diamond. One obviously was one of the best gliders in the game.
Yeah.
I got some extra validation because they had some snow tracks. But for me, I know that Moonview Highway T, me having a level 3 glider is unacceptable on that track. So it's a track that I'm going to have to address one way or another one day.
Yeah.
But for me, I just was like, I'm just going to address it. Whereas Madrid Drift, I just used my level 3 Kart because I did, for ranked, I still won it. So it wasn't like something I needed to make an invest in. But for me, I was like, I don't know when Madrid Drift Madrid Drift is gonna come back again. So I might as well just like leave it with the way it is and not worry about it. Whereas I have to address Moonview T because that's gonna be one track that comes out over and over again. Hypothetically. Now maybe it doesn't. Maybe it does get put on the shelf like Warrior Shipyard or Coconut Mall or something where maybe it's around for a while, then all of a sudden goes away. Or it could be like something else and just like not seen very often at all. So either way, I'm treating that was one example. And I think it's like a perfect example because I literally was like, I do need a little bit more for my rank score. I actually had like a pretty relatively competitive, rank track. So I had to do something. And so for me, that was the direction I went. Now I would say it made me, I felt like I had like a proud dad moment when I was looking through my friends list and sending coins, and almost everyone had the wonderful diamond at like levels. Like that's what everyone was using. It kind of made me feel proud that like people are following the meta.
I love it. I love it. It's like one of my favorite gliders.
I'm the only one who doesn't. I don't.
Yeah, but you don't obey what everyone else. You don't follow the rules. You like zigging what everyone else is tagging.
My girlfriend's got a 7 triple, but I don't.
That's not a big investment for you comparatively. I know you have the red checkered, which I think a lot of people in the community, so the red 8-bit super. A lot of other people are pretty hesitant on that, but you've gone all in. You've gone all in on the red comet. I love some of your moves that I don't see a lot of people making. So absolutely love that. Good, guys. Let's talk a little bit about as we're kind of going through the rest of this tour. I don't know if there's anything else specifically around this tour, around Madrid, that you kind of stand out, but I want to flush it out before we move forward to the next tour because there's a lot to talk about. We only have about 30 minutes left together. Anything else you want to talk about for Madrid? What you like about the track? What you like about this tour? Anything specific you want to point out about some of the newer items, or either? If not, we'll move to next tour, which we have Sky High Sunday. We have a new Wiggler, a gold Wiggler, which most likely will be a Coinbox driver. What do you guys think now when it comes to new Coinbox drivers, these gold drivers? And honestly, I think we've seen kind of two ends of the spectrum, right? We've seen the gold charging Chuck, which, has been dominant in the game. We've also seen Gold PD, which was a ranked reward and just maybe not seen quite as much love. He's gotten a similar number of buffs, but just, not in ranked. So for people who care about ranked, they want to get the ranked love. What do you guys think about these gold drivers that have Coinbox? Is this something that you have to invest in? How do you feel it plays in with the Miis? How do you feel like it plays into, I don't know, potentially, a top 10, top 100 run? Gold Wiggler.
I already know that everyone's gonna complain that Wiggler is gonna be in mid-weight. I can already see that happening. They say they did the same thing with Gold Knight, but he could end up actually pretty good. It's kind of really, really soon though that he's already coming out when we didn't get something like Gold Poochie or something. But he's probably coming next year. The only problem is with Gold Wiggler is that regular Wiggler and regular me have already been overlapping like crazy. I think they already have 8 overlaps now. And now Gold Wiggler is just gonna come in and start overlapping with them as well on everything. So it's just now people are gonna say, is it worth investing in the OG Wiggler now? Or should we all just go on the Coinbox one because he's just gonna be the best option on every track? And same with the Wiggler me, like do the Wiggler me only and the Gold Wiggler and just ignore the regular one now. So I don't know.
It's debatable. That's why we're here on a podcast. Let's debate it. What do you guys think?
I think my impulse is to like, okay, I'll get it, and then we'll wait and see. Like how I think the only Coinboxer that I've done immediate 6 was Gold Knight, but every other I've been like, let's just see how it goes, and like let's see what it does for my account a couple of tours time. But from the beginning, Gold Knight was the thing where like on the tour, like obviously we couldn't get it to play with it really on that same tour, but like the moment that I saw the covers, like I can get rid of all these things that I don't want to use. So he is going to be 8 quad, and he is 8 quad this tour. So I don't know. I mean, unless it's something like Larry Wintertime or Gold Koopa, I don't care about the size of the Coinboxer. Although I was joking with the guys the other day that Wiggler reminds me of T-Rex because he drives kind of like this. He doesn't grab the wheel, and I wonder how like the mechanics is going to be him holding the box, because Larry Wintertime, he goes like this, like he's holding high up, and I thought that was hilarious.
Why
So
there's
like,
no Goomba driver? That's why.
I I don't know.
All right, hey, fair enough. What do you guys think about Wiggler if he were to be a coin box driver compared to the Mii's? Is he someone like, let's say, in this situation, this hypothetical situation that I may not or may not have to enter into? If I were to do a top 10 run, you guys know I've basically only invested in Mii's. Like, I don't even know. Maybe it makes sense for me to take him up, to level 8, triple uncap, and use him on a lot of these tracks. Or what if he does, worst case scenario, get this Wiggler Mii treatment, which I have Wiggler Mii at 8, I think triple. So like, maybe it doesn't do anything for me. It's like, what's your thought process there on, a coin box non-Mii versus, any of these Mii's that are out there, including Wiggler?
So I would say, so you need to decide, are you going for like a one-off situation? Then a one-off situation, it can be anything. You might be needing to quad cap, cheap Mii, or whatever it may be. But if you are like in the upper echelons of the game, top 50, top 10 or whatnot, I think coin boxes, the reason why I'm not so bothered about medium or whatever, because Kart is the larger determinant of size than the actual driver itself. So
why do you say that?
Because a Kart does influence your hitbox much more so than the driver does. And then when you start doing ACR with 45 tracks, first of all, if it's happened to be in battle, like Luigi, like coin box is so much better for that, and you're guaranteed basically, okay, I know we don't this tool, but generally, usually you've got 2 of them. But in terms of time wise, a level, let's say 8 quad capped, like, because of that 200 ceiling that we talk about, it's quite rare that you get a giant banana or Lucky 7 occasionally, but it's very rare to get like a triple coin where you're going to end up getting 200 actions. And if you do, it's the most horrendous thing to go for. So an 8 quad capped coin boxer for me is only really beaten by a Mii coin boxer or a Mii boomerang driver. Even something like Yellow Mii, who's like my pride and joy sort of Mii, that's outside those top skills or whatever, I would, if I see a track and I'm not sure which one of the 2 to use, and I put in DKR and there's maybe even a 2K higher gap with giant banana, I'm going with Coinbox all day long because I know exactly what to do and what's happening and stuff. Although they're making it a bit annoying by making bots really annoying that you have to like grind them down. So it's very rare that if you've got an 8 quad, and I realize I'm saying 8 quad and people are thinking, God, when am I ever going to have an 8 quad? Whatever your relevant is in comparison, if you have like, it's very rare outside of those top Mii's that I mentioned where a good coin boxer is going to be smashed off the table. That's just not going to happen. And who's going to 8 quad cap, cap Mii or whatever, and even still then it's not going to wipe the floor with a coin boxer. It's fun, it's much more, I don't know, like we've always said coin box is king, not just because it scores well, but because there's just something fantastic about it. It doesn't bring up that sense of like, needing to vomit like boomboxing does. So I say go for coin boxes as a general strategy. For an individual tour, I wouldn't suggest that. But in the long run, and I'm now having to invest in gold PT, which I didn't do. I went in gold Chuck, that was great. But I've got all these tracks where I've got Cat Mii and Goomba Mii and Rocky Wrench Mii and stuff, and where I could replace them all. Okay, yeah, they went and ranked, but let's be honest, Studfit, me and you, like, how often are you going to finish outside second place. It's just not going to happen, really. Now, I understand for other players, I'm talking completely from the WoW point of view. I always need to make that very, very clear. But in terms of from a WoW, and in terms of just genuine fun, mix it up a little bit. Go for your lucky sevens as well, because when you're doing 45 tracks, if ACR is your game, it's so nice, like, to do a lucky 7 track. It actually it feels like you're doing a completely different game. So I'm definitely going to be picking up this coin boxer. I've just quad capped my Luigi Knight because I'm going, living by the words that I espouse right now. But I'll end up doing the same because that's how I know I'll enjoy the game, which is now more important than it was before, which was to win.
Yeah. No, it's helpful. What about you, Jerome? Now, I know you've been playing for 7 months now. You just got Gold Chuck. I mean, how is this Gold Wiggler gonna fit into your account?
Basically, I don't think, because I also don't have too much tickets. I think I'm not gonna like pull them up or to level 6 or something. My question also would be: is it already clear where you get him from, like rank or in the store?
He'll be in the
store, I
shop.
think.
He's in the shop.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, probably I'm gonna get him, but at the moment I'm always getting the Wimis every 2 weeks for 70. And I also think maybe I'm gonna pull up the orange one who come new out because I like triple bananas a lot.
Okay.
And I'm looking for it, but for me now, I don't want to pull them up for now because I'm just having like 10 tickets or something. But if I need to for rank, I probably would do it. But I hope that Gold Shark is coming back in rank, even if it doesn't look like.
He's he's had quite a year for sure, for especially for a non-gold suited me. He's probably been the number one driver of the game outside of the gold me. And Toad Astronauts had pretty good. I'd probably put him in third, but I mean overall those 3 guys have had a pretty awesome year. You can't really complain too much about that. But it's interesting to think of new emerging drivers, what kind of coverage they get. I mean, coming out of these city tours and nitro tours, I mean, maybe he ends up having some really good assumed coverage. Right now, we'll get to the point where a lot of these non-me drivers are in like the 50 track and above perspective. So, I mean, who knows what will happen, how quickly they buff him with whatever's coming in the future. One question I have is that, one thing that we have seen in the past is we've kind of seen this winter curse, right? So we have like these winter tracks don't come back very often for whatever reason. And a lot of times it has to do with like the seasonal thing that they're doing. I do like this like little mini break that they give it, and they kind of throw these winter tracks we don't see very often. But we only had like 2 winter tours last winterish time. And so like we didn't really get a lot of action from these tracks. Like even Snowland, I think came back one time or something like that outside of the winter-ish area. Do you think that Wiggler, this Gold Wiggler, if he gets all these snow tracks, including Sky High Sunday, and then we don't see these winter tracks until December? I mean, how do you think that would impact? I mean, I know right now that's probably only going to cover 30-40% of his tracks are going to be these wintertime tracks, but knowing that it kind of comes back a little less often than some of the other tracks, just because they are kind of, seasonalized. Do you think that could hurt his value?
I don't think so. Not really.
It's a roll of the dice. I really think.
Okay. We've talked about this winter curse quite a lot. I would say that it's, we see holiday stuff. Like a good example would be some of the Halloween stuff. We just don't see a lot of action from it, except for in the fall. And these winter things, it has to be like very obviously winter stuff, or very obviously. I don't think Gold Wiggler stands out as like obviously winter, but he's going to be in an obviously winter-ish tour. And so that's kind of going to be, some coverage that he's almost kind of like getting a city start. You're going to get this winter start. Now, I do think the winter tracks, I mean, Frappe Snowland RT is the one track we haven't seen in like over a year. So just to kind of put things, I'm not just talking out my butt. Like this is actually a thing. This I'm not going to get gaslit by you, Kareem, but these do exist, and so I'm putting it out there. If Gold Wiggler, if he gets all this winter coverage, the good thing for it, if that were to be the case, is that in 3 months when it's wintertime again, he's like super useful, and like that's a perfect time to re-energize him, and he'll probably get some buffs along the way that going through the fall, etc. Maybe he's just not quite as useful in the spring and summer for next year, but by then you're just happy that you got him. You were using him a lot over this period of time, but I don't know, it's like the starting coverage means a lot. It's not the end of the world, but it definitely takes into consideration. That's one of the reasons why we were so reluctant to invest in King Mario. But look at him now. I mean, I feel like he's one of the more useful. I feel like he's more useful. I think he's Cookie Land alone, but even in addition to that, man, I've been using him in ranked a couple of times, and I've been basically only investing in Mies since. But I mean, it's just one of those things. We kind of just coin boxers always have a longer shelf life than any other skill, and so from that perspective, I'm kind of high on him. I think it'll be cool to see him go through. Good. Anything else you guys want to talk about next tour? It does look like I'm trying to think of some of the other newer items. It doesn't really seem like, I mean, this Wiggler.
I think to add on to what you're saying, like with King Mario and also like with Wiggler, potentially having the winter course start. There's also drivers like the Yellow Me who had an all city start, and everyone thought it wasn't going to be really good, but because Me doesn't get too many tracks over time, and since it's a city start, it won't be good. But eventually, that was one of the best Me suits in the game currently. It gets so many rank buffs. It gets a lot of tracks now. Granted, a lot of them are cities, but it's still very, very useful. Always ranked a lot. So I don't think Gold Wiggler starting and with winter tracks isn't like a death sentence for him or anything. And like you said, like he will be useful in about 3 months. But I think he should be getting with all the other gold drivers, he'll be getting buffs on every single type of theme track because he doesn't really have a specific theme. Versus like something like Larry Wintertime or Holiday Daisy, where they're only going to be getting buffs on like more like snow themed tracks, and they'll occasionally get like a summer track or something. But Gold Wiggler is mostly just he could be themed for anything, and even if he has like not the best coverage as a start, I don't think it's the end for him. So I think he should be okay.
Yeah,
and also one more thing, it was leaked that he is going to get one in the new Vanilla Lakes. So that could be a solo for him. So it could be pretty good. I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to say that when you were referencing, like the curses and stuff like that, they were very, very real. I remember, people with the snow crystals and stuff, but I associate them more with year 1 and year 2. I think of like Blazing Eagle, or even something like Festive Holly, which I'm not, invested in, and things like that. I think just good items are good items, and like I have this feeling that like if you invest in something hard, like you'll end up using it. Like it's when you dilly dally in the middle. Like, let's say 6 double is your top and you end up taking it to level 3 to wait and see what happens. You'll end up in the middle of nowhere. Like, if you end up investing in it and it's you will use it, it will become useful, I think, on the vast majority of occasions. And I think that curse that like I never went in on Snow Crystals or Holiday Daisy or anything like that. Like that doesn't deter me nearly as much as it used to. We have like 550 tracks or something now. Like they can't, like, they've got to spread it around somehow at some point, a little bit. And we're seeing the buffing cycles of items so long. Like I'm investing in gliders a year after they've come out. So in one way, it means be patient. In another way, it's also saying, I'm also saying, go hard in on something. Like, I think that's the great thing. Like, I think you can be rewarded both ways round. You can be extra cautious. You can throw caution to the wind. I just think more is lost by indecision as opposed to wrong decision.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Actually, to add on to that, it is pretty good to also have coverage for like a lot of the theme tracks. So when the winter comes, you'll be using these items, and then when summer comes, you'll be using these items, and when the fall comes, you'll be using these items. So you kind of like mix it around with your inventory. And for example, I wanted to bring up Porsche, who is a Mark II investor. He has all the Mark IIs like high level. So he's talking about like how next tour he's going to be using the blue Mark II like crazy. It's going to be everywhere. Probably like 12, 13, 14 tracks for the ACR. So that'll be his main cart for the winter tracks. But then, for example, if the summer comes, he'll be using the sky blue and the green one. So it's pretty good to like have like a variety of items that cover certain theme tracks. And like Kareem said, you'll have them high level, but you will be using them when the time comes for them. So
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, no, I admit what I miss about it is the special pipes. Like for instance, there was the one the Frostwing came in that cart pipe, and there were a bunch of ice related carts. When I started in the pandemic, I missed that first winter, so I missed the Poltergust and like a bunch of these older. It didn't really help me much when after I pulled it, but like I have a lot of high level winter carts, so I'm pretty good with the winter carts. But now that we don't have special pipes, we don't always get that luxury. It does. I will say though, it is nice. Like for instance, when Ansel went for his first top 100, it was I believe it was like the Bowser Tour, New Year's Tour 2023, and so he has like all these. Yeah, like Meowser, like the Tiger Bruiser, and like all these items are around that. So like anytime we go back to that Bowser's Castle, like he's set. He's I think Bowser's Castles in general are great for some people who like all the baddie stuff. And there are other tours where I think he went, like for instance, I think another one of his tours he went for, he lives in Holland, so like the Amsterdam tour, he lives in Amsterdam, so like he went into the flower card in Volendam, and so like every time that this that's incorporated in the set, he feels pretty good. So there is something about just hanging your hat on whatever it is. My recommendation would be like, don't invest in, whatever they force you to invest in. Like for instance, I feel bad because he's from Amsterdam, but does he like a flower cart? I don't know. Maybe he's in the flowers, maybe he's not. But I think like, the Bowser and like the Tiger Bruiser and stuff like that's pretty cool stuff. So just like, go into the tours where you feel like excited to invest in this stuff. I would have loved to, going on all in. Obviously my schedule was insane back then, but that Luigi tour where Gold Luigi was brought into with the Shield Speedsters and the emblems, like that would have been so cool to just go all in on, and like everything related to, nights and everything would have been like my tour. And like, I would have got pumped every time it would have came around at that time of year. So again, for me, I know I'm looking forward to Crazy going for his top 10 in the Halloween related tour, because he loves King Boo, Luigi's Mansion, and that's his thing. And he's got the Boo masks up to level 8, everything Boo related.
Boo masks as well, yeah.
He's going to be saving, but he probably doesn't have to invest into too much. He's going to be investing into some of the obscure stuff. So with that being said, we're closing in on our 2 hours together. I do want to have one last question. I always try to get into the members' questions that post in our Discord server. So Hero of the Skies 27 asks, how come Mario Kart Tour Twitter, or AKA X, doesn't do a roadmap anymore whenever there's a summer, winter, spring, fall celebration? So we would get like little coin rewards or something silly, but why do you think they've scrapped that?
I had this conversation with people this week on Discord, actually, because I tangentially work in marketing on social media. And one of the reasons may just be that there's not a dedicated social media manager and social media marketing for the game. That the game is sharing this marketing support with other assets in Nintendo. if there's no budget allocated to do a drive to reach out for more game players, for more outreach, for more systematic promotion of the game, these promotions, they don't exist. Especially if the game doesn't have right now a particular event going on. So if the game itself didn't organize it, then the marketing team doesn't get a notice to do it. And it doesn't get allocated to put money behind it on social media. But also there's the whole thing where social media marketing and promotions are kind of on a shakeup right now ever since Elon Musk took over Twitter. A lot of people are on the fence about giving them money and investing money on Twitter and supporting the platform anymore. So there's that. And so that's part of the answer. And that could be also part of the whole answer to, is this game going to be spearheaded and to keep growing? If something doesn't get a marketing budget, at least a minimum marketing budget, more than the bi-weekly stuff that they put out that is pretty automatic, yeah, sadly it is a sign that something is wrong, because otherwise they would continue to have these things. But yeah, that's my take why it's not happening.
Interesting. Some of the other opinions, you familiar? Are you guys caught in on those? Creams, you were gonna jump. Like, have you been involved in this? Did we get dragged into the mud as well?
Not like, I have absolutely no idea. When it comes to Nintendo's communication with its fan base, it's pretty shocking. So and it's been like that way for a long time. I'm sure we've all sent a message to customer service and got a letter back from Martina N, you know, that was copy and pasted, you know. So I don't necessarily think that that's it could be a sign of something. It could also not be a sign of something, because they've not been great for a while. But I do take Avi's point that unless you're something like a Ferrari, which doesn't need to advertise itself, there's a reason why Mercedes and BMW still advertise, because they need to continue surviving. And if they are not doing that, it does, you know, that we're not expecting this game to last 20, 30 years. Of course not. But it does, you know, send out some sort of questions, like it's if they want it to continue going as a revenue-based game, which that it is, they'll have to somehow. But saying that though, I'm not even on Twitter, so, or X or whatever, so I find out everything through these other people. They seem to know a lot about what's happening in the game through Twitter long before I've heard anything. So there must be something going on, but I don't know specifically what marketing plans they do. I just wait for the Wednesday, man. Wednesday morning, that's all I do. Wait for Wednesday morning.
Yeah. Can't get too mad with that. All right, well, we are at 2 hours, so I'd love to just go around and hear from you guys, just to have you say your goodbyes, and maybe a shout out or two to some of your friends that you played the game with, and ultimately, I think if you have any recommendations for newer players, thinking about people like Jerome that have been playing for 7 months, and right now they're loving the game, and you know, things could change, things could wane as time goes on, but yeah, definitely, I'd love to hear, you know, a recommendation. I mean, we've done these in the past, but like, what would be a recommendation you'd have for somebody who's about 7 months into the game, as they're embarking on what seems to be kind of, for us, playing the game for a long period of time. We've, you know, seen it, done it, got the t-shirt, what advice would you have for him? So we'll actually start with you, Jerome, if you don't mind. I'm sure you probably want to shout out your buddies that you play with all the time, but thanks again for joining. What kind of shout outs do you have, and what would you like to say to your new fans? Jerome, you might be on mute. Did you hear us?
Should I start?
Yeah, absolutely, if you don't mind.
Oh yeah, I'm shout outing Talat. He's playing the game every day. He should fix his life a bit. He's not going to school because of Mario sometimes. I think that's not good. And shout out to all my Turkish friends from Beşiktaş.
Okay.
And Büyük Beşiktaş, important. And yeah, I enjoyed being here. And I hope to maybe be again here once or twice in the future.
Yeah. Well, let's have you back, man. What advice would you have? I guess, like, even if you were talking to yourself a couple months ago, what's something that you learned recently in the game that you wish you could go back and tell yourself?
In Mario?
Mario Kart Tour.
That's tough.
We can circle back if you want. Maybe we'll make that.
I'm surely thinking about it.
What would you do? What would you tell yourself, your 7-month-old version or 7-month version of yourself playing the game? What would you go back and tell yourself?
That I think where I am now after 7 months is pretty far. But it's also because my friends always told me what was like going up, for example, with Pucci. They told me like 2-3 seasons ago I should invest in him, for example. I think like I got all the meta drivers, cards, and everything, both diamond gliders, 8-bit glider, all the good cards. I mean, I started like with investing just in the good things, so I always like also got the first place in ranks since I played the game. And I hope that I can continue that until I'm rank 80 and get my gold Wii driver. Looking forward to it. But still have years to go at least.
Yeah. Well, I believe in you, man. You're going to do it. Very excited to hear the progress and potentially have you on again in the future. But Avi, what would you go if you go back and tell your 7-month-old version of yourself in the game? What would you tell yourself?
Well, if I count when I started playing the game and then 7 months later, I would probably say like you're going to get calluses on your fingers that you've never had by playing.
I think it was a pen. You don't get calluses for the pen, do you? Oh boy. Battle wound, battle scars. Okay.
Right there. But like, not to sound corny or anything, I'm a person that has numerous friends that my better friends and best friends came from online communities. And at that time, actually, it was kind of like a point of inflection where the communities where I had been populating were kind of dying because the show had ended and such. And I thought that was it. Like that, I mean, that's the end of making friends online, and what I have is what it is. So I would tell myself, like, don't worry about it. You're gonna get a brand new community that has so much in common with you and so little in common with you, but you're gonna love it anyways. And yeah, I'm so happy about it. Like it's great.
Love it. Good. I appreciate that. We'll head up you, Woo Moo. We'll finish with our super studs. But what would you go back and tell your 7th-month version of yourself?
I would tell him, don't go for ACRs when you have the tickets, because then you'll be miserable. And you'll be all angry.
Would you really listen to yourself if you told yourself that? You know you wouldn't.
Probably.
Day one,
I would have saved my tickets and not invest in things before doing a back-to-back top 10, and then be miserable and very frustrated and complain all the time.
That's a lie. That's a lie. And then he is laughing about it. Like,
yeah, now
He
you
hates it.
yeah.
Hates it.
No, I do regret like not saving a lot more before doing it, because then it would have been a little easier. But I'm so glad I got them. But if I had to like give my even now, future self from now to 7 months from now, I would still say if you're gonna do it again, just save tickets and don't waste your item tickets either on trying to go for records.
That's solid advice. Solid advice. Fair enough here. And then last but not second to last but not least, Kareem, what advice would you have for your 7th month into the game version of yourself?
I think moderation is the key. Like, I've gone through periods where I have been like so information based that there's like it's like looking for the right answer. And there is no exact right answer a lot of the time. This could be investing or how you spend your time or whatnot. And then I've also gone to the opposite ends where I've just been blasé and I've thrown tickets here and thrown things there, and I'll like, so actually, like, it's a mixture of two. It's about being disciplined but not too disciplined. It's about enjoyment, and I'm the sort of person, I can't enjoy myself by like not having some kind of structure to it. But then if you make it too structured, it saps all the fun out of it. As I said, that's so much like on how many hours you play, on what you invest in, and then I would really, if you want to stay in this game long term, anyone who's on here has got to have been involved in a community. So if you're one of the silent people who watches this, perhaps, like I was one of those people who jumped into a voice chat, people were talking. Sorry, that's my alarm. I apologize. That was probably telling me I should shut up. Sorry, I'll end there.
Nice. Well, I appreciate you being on. Appreciate those comments there. And last but not least, Larry98, what would you go back and tell your 7th month in the game version of yourself?
So I would say two things. Also, yeah, don't throw tickets at random stuff for no reason. Like, and the second thing would be time management, because still to this day I have like a terrible time management in Mario Kart 2. I already did it like when I started the game. I even when I didn't buy packs and I wasn't a whale or a dolphin back then, I already bought the value packs because I didn't had enough star tickets to even complete to get all the gifts. So it was like the last 2 days of the tour, and I was like, oh, I still need to do everything. And then I already bought the value packs that to get the star tickets, and still to this day, it's like it's second week. I still have to grind all the tracks for player level and going through all the tracks at least once. Like, it's now Friday and I haven't played Madrid 1 Reverse, T and RT, and Madrid 2 I first played yesterday. So and it's already second week. So yeah. Just getting time management, like doing that early so that you can relax and not like stress the last 3 or 4 days. Like,
Yeah, I'm with you there. I definitely would say if I talked to myself in the 7th month, that's probably right where I started my channel. I don't know what still not sure if I'm really like, made the best decision for my life, starting the YouTube channel, but it seems like it brings a lot of people joy. So I keep it going and appreciate it. And I think that's probably, I think actually, for those of you who didn't know, I actually created the channel just to show some of my friends, which included Woot Moo and his brother Knights, to show him like how I was beating the pipe. And obviously pipes are no longer here. Sorry about that, Jerome. But from that perspective, like, that's what's created this channel, and that's what's hopefully brought some people joy. And hopefully, if you're watching this 2 hours in, hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Thank you all to the guests for joining us. Thanks for engaging in these conversations on what's at least for some of us in the US, coming into a very nice little 3-day weekend. So until the rundown, which and the tour reveal, hopefully you guys have a wonderful 3-day Labor Day weekend, and we'll see you on the tour reaction. And who knows what might come ahead with next tour. You have to just wait and see. So next time, may the friends of luck be with you. See you guys.
Bye.